can sell this podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of We Can Sell This Podcast. I am your host, almost as always, Cameron Miller. Glad to be back this week.
Indeed,
and with me, as always, a man I will now view as the paramour of this podcast, Nelson Piper.
Hey, everybody.
And also, the Joel Cairo to my Samuel Spade, Paul Bukowski.
Happy belated New Year, everyone.
Oh, wow. That was impressive.
Was that like a, what did that say right there?
It's my DJ entrance. No big deal.
Just sounded like
that sounded like the
Parks and
Randy
Rec.
intro on Funny People for Aziz Ansari. I think that's exactly what that was.
Randy. Yeah, I think it was.
Randy's dick.
And what was your reference there, Miller, to help all of us?
Joel Cairo and Samuel Spade.
Yes, please.
That was from a book called The Maltese Falcon. They actually did a movie about it in the 40s too, but it was.
You know that bestseller back in 1980.
Well, look, we've discussed this. Paul says strange things when he introduces himself on the podcast. So now I try to throw him off, and my go-to move now is to pull like famous literary characters from like classic novels to try and like just throw him off his game. Apparently it just doesn't work. I told Nelson this was gonna happen. That as soon as I started doing it on a consistent basis, you wouldn't even listen to what I was saying, and you just start like doing whatever you were gonna do anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
I just wait for the pause.
Yeah, just wait until I give you your opening and do whatever the hell you're gonna do.
Yep. Oh gosh. Ready,
All
set,
right.
go.
All right. We need to get into the podcast here. We are, for the first time in a week, we are operating at what passes for full strength around here.
Three's Company.
So,
Indeed.
yeah. So, we are doing the Wolverine this week in the first half here, but before we jump in, I believe Nelson has a little thing he wants to share with us.
I'm going to have a psychic vision here of everyone who watches any Marvel movie. Everybody says wait till the very end and stay. There's going to be a little clip, a little teaser for you to stay. And guess what, folks? It doesn't disappoint almost. About 3 minutes in, exactly 3 minutes and 2 seconds, there is a clip that shows what will be coming for the X-Men franchise. Really,
Talking about into the credits.
Yes, into the credits. Sorry. 3 minutes and 2 seconds into the credits, we get this preview of what's going to be happening in the X-Men franchise, and it gave me goosebumps. X-Men is my favorite franchise out of all of the Marveldom business. Man, anywho. These people, if you ever go to a movie theater, which hopefully most of you do if you're listening to this, otherwise what's the point? But in this, everyone waits till the very end. And for me and my team, we clean theaters. When you guys leave all of your popcorn and sodas and ices and pizza for our location.
This podcast is not a soapbox for you to like come out here and bitch about like the way people treat your movie theater. Just get to the point.
It's everyone in general. At any rate, everyone waits till the very end, and it doesn't matter. I literally stood there with 3 or 4 different groups of people at different times in the day when this movie was ending, and they asked me, "Is there anything at the end?" And I say, "No, there isn't. What you just saw, that was the last clip. Are you sure?" And there is a problem that I have with speaking idiot. I can't do it, or I don't know how to talk too stupid when I say, "No, there's nothing at the end." Oh, okay, I'm gonna wait till the end because I still think there's something. You
like
don't
you're
know what you're talking
like you're
about.
lying to them.
Yeah, I don't know everything about this build. I didn't create it. I didn't verify that it was correct. I haven't cleaned this, so don't take my word for it. Use your gut. That's what you should. Yeah, stick to your gut, sir. And
I have a question about this. Like, when you're getting ready, you obviously go and stand like at the edge of the walkway while the movie's getting ready to end.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you ever have like someone in the crowd? Because I've seen this a couple times at like past Marvel movies. Like some guy who's like in the way back is like, "Oh, you guys don't want to leave yet. There's gonna be something at the end. You're gonna want to stay for that."
yes.
Yeah. Every single time without fail, there's some jackass who just like everybody doesn't already fucking know.
Guys, wait a second. We're gonna test this out. And then thanks to Marvel, it's not only Marvel movies, it's every action movie. It doesn't matter now. Everyone just waits till the very end. And honestly, to some people's credit, though, people literally will sit there just to watch the credits. They want to see every credit.
Whoa, you guys, Denzel comes out the end of Fast 7 here. There's going to be another one coming up. You're going to want to see this.
Exactly. All that stuff. So
Are they making a Fast 7?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not Denzel that's in the next one.
Jason Statham.
It's Jason Statham.
Yep.
Oh, good for him.
Yes, indeed. As if he doesn't have enough bad boy action parts. But yeah, that's what I just can't stand. People will not listen to reason, and they just go off their gut because of past experiences that they've had.
I don't understand if they're gonna sit anyway. I don't understand the reason for asking you. Because all right, I'm asking you what's gonna happen. Okay, now either one, you're gonna tell me that there is something, and I'm gonna do exactly what I was gonna do anyway, and sit there. 2, I'm gonna ask you, and you're gonna tell me like exactly what happens, and I'm gonna be pissed you kind of spoiled it for me. Or 3, you're gonna tell me there is nothing, and apparently I'm gonna wait anyway.
Yeah, those are your 3 options. There's none
People
that say...
fucking talking to hear themselves talk.
Yep.
It's like fucking people think they got a right to just sit around and talk.
Yeah.
Or they make a fucking podcast. That's what that shit's for.
So, it really goes that way. There's no 4th option of listen to what he told me and leave. There isn't that at all.
Oh yeah, the guy who made the movie or like put the movie together, on the theater screen. Guy who's seen it like 20 times. Yeah, he said there's nothing, but we'll sit anyway. We just want to make sure.
There are a few people that are just, so involved, engrossed in their conversation. They're not even looking at the screen, kind of passively, like, oh, maybe I'll stay, whatever, we're talking anyways, and I'll politely, as I'm cleaning.
That's a little different, I guess.
But I'll clean above them, and I'll be like, hey, guys, just letting you know, there's nothing at the end.
Yeah.
And those people who already are kind of just passively there, those ones will be like, oh, okay, and then they'll still sit there anyways. You thought there might have been a light at the end of the tunnel. There isn't. They still
Nelson, they have the right to enjoy the end credits.
Oh, they do.
They need to appreciate
Absolutely.
every single person's role.
People want to
It's like a
know.
film.
Yeah, exactly. People want to know exactly who the 3rd string stunt double for Hugh Jackman's love interest in the Wolverine was.
Hey, there are several key funny people in the credits for X-Men. There was one guy with the name, his title in the show was Redbeard, and that was it. That's what his name was, Redbeard. And then the other one was Drunken Japanese Hooker.
Oh, I don't recall.
Yep.
That must have been an offset name they used between the campers.
No,
my name has been attached to many a project as Drunken Japanese Hooker.
No, but who's that person that's like, I'm in the movie, wait till the credits, you'll see, it's really me. Mm-hmm. Yes, hey, Drunken Japanese Hooker, that's me.
Jesus.
No respect around here.
Could have just watched and saw me when I was in the actual movie, but no, just read my name in the white print at the very end. That's fine. All right, let's move on to the Wolverine here. Let's get away from all this other garbage we've been talking about. What did we think of this movie? Who wants to start?
I'm going to start with this one because yeah.
We rarely get the starts from Paul, so this is a real treat.
I haven't really seen all the X-Men movie.
And by haven't really seen, do you mean you've seen none of them?
Well, so see what happens is they'll come on Fox or FX or whatever.
Oh yeah,
and
they play that like it's gold.
Yeah, I know. It's like the only thing they play. So I'll hop into that for like 10, 15 minutes and then get distracted. So that's pretty much all I've ever seen for the first. Isn't there 3 X-Men movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prior to there was the original trilogy. Then they did the First Class one. I think in 2011.
Okay.
Paul, you were there for the 3rd one. We saw it in theaters together. I swear you were there. It was like a group of us. And I remember because like Magneto loses his powers at the end, and like James Webber like is bawling on the ground.
Yeah, James did get upset about that.
Again, I probably only paid attention for the first 10 or 15 minutes.
Paul was busy texting on his phone, finding his next slam piece for the evening.
Anyways, so yeah, I hadn't really, I didn't really care about X-Men all that much. I did like First Class though. I thought that was pretty good. And then I didn't see Wolverine Origins either.
You didn't want to see that.
Yeah.
No.
And I heard that wasn't too great. So, anyways.
Speaking of, I was actually watching that on FX earlier today in preparation for this podcast because I'm so committed.
Whoa.
So anyway, I didn't really have any expectations coming in with this, but I did do a little research, and I knew that the movie was going to take place in Japan, and that already turned me off because when movies go to Japan, they tend to be less interesting.
Yeah, okay. Now, Nelson, I'm going to pose this question to you because we saw this one together. Like, we saw Pacific Rim together. Now we've seen this.
Yeah.
And he told me that afterwards. He's like, yeah, I knew it was going to be in Japan, so I just had really low expectations. And I was like, what were you basing your expectations? Like, what movies go to Japan and, like, are so terrible? And the movies he told me were Rush Hour 2. And what was the other one? It was just
Fast and Furious Tokyo
yeah,
Drift.
and Tokyo. So two movies that everybody with a freaking brain and it just knows are gonna be terrible movies.
First of all, Tokyo Drift was amazing.
Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. There's no way this movie can miss.
We're just hitting everybody.
It's just the Japan curse. I don't know. Those movies had such potential.
But they were just two terrible movies.
Oh,
you can't like just claim that movies in Japan are terrible. It just can't be good. They just can't do them right.
No,
I mean,
fail.
Did you see Rush Hour 2?
Any country that's just based off of an island and just too arrogant.
If you can't make Rush Hour 2 work, then how can you make any movie work in Japan?
So anyway,
we've lost everything.
I had those two films in the back of my mind walking into this movie. And so let me continue though. So I was quite pleased, despite the fact that this was filmed in Japan. It was fairly good.
Shocking that you thought this movie was better than those.
So walking in with the Japanese burden and not having really any care about X-Men, I felt like this movie was Inception meets Ninja Turtles Foot Clan meets Kill Bill.
I thought this was all stupid crap he was telling me to.
Yeah.
But the one thing I gave him was that the Silver Samurai did look a little bit like Shredder, so I gave him that. But beyond that, I was like, this is just the ramblings of an incoherent madman.
A man who has no appreciation.
So anyway, that's how I felt about it.
When we left the movie, and I didn't really know going in that he hadn't really seen all the X-Men stuff or didn't really know a whole lot about it.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving, I could understand how this movie would leave you a little like in the dark, or you might have not understood some things because it has a lot of fan service stuff.
Yeah.
Especially like the stuff in the credits with Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart.
Oh gosh.
That was just all like fan service.
Yeah.
Gold
Absolutely.
right there. But and I loved it, but Paul was like, I don't really know what's going on.
Gosh.
Yeah, I didn't care.
So, and then like the stuff with Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Throughout the film, I kind of assumed Paul didn't really understand like what was going on there either.
Yeah.
Like,
Hold my hand.
Who's this redheaded broad that
Yeah,
keeps
I was
showing
like,
up and stuff?
man, Rogue looks really ugly in this movie.
Oh god.
She is rocking some sweet cleave in that nightie.
That was a nice way of putting it.
So anyway, let me get my Wolverine scores out of the way so you two X-Men nerds can have at it. So for me, just walking in blind and the whole Japanese mix up, and
This is the score your dad would give it.
and the Foot Clan thing. I give it 7.
Throwing ninja stars.
Fist blades.
Fist blades.
Oh,
That's what he
Wolverine.
had.
Oh, Wolverine.
Oh.
You mean
We
knuckle
both had that
knives?
realization.
Knuckle knives. There we go.
Knuckle knives?
Seven knuckle
Seven
knives out of
knuckle
10.
knives.
7
Yeah.
knuckle knives out of 10. All right.
So
Oh,
please
gosh.
continue. Inform us.
All right, Nelson.
Yeah.
Let's get into it a little bit here.
The meat.
This was my favorite. I liked this way better than any of the original three.
Agreed.
I did not even really care for the original three.
I like the
X2
third one. I like the
See,
third.
I
out
did
of
not
all
like
of them.
the third one. I like X2,
Yeah.
and that was about it. I didn't really care for the first one. I mean, it came out when we were still 9 years old, so
when
it's
we were
been a while.
easily influenced.
Yeah, easily influenced at the time, so I probably loved it then.
Yeah.
But 2 was the only one that I thought was good in retrospect. 3 I thought was just all over the place. I didn't really like the storyline of it, and I hated that they killed Professor X. And spoilers! It came out in 2005, but in case you haven't seen it yet, like Paul.
Oh.
Yeah, the bald guy.
But yeah, the bald guy died. But I thought that this movie had the best story.
Oh, by far.
It's the closest thing to like a real Wolverine movie I'm probably ever gonna get. I told this to Paul too. I was like, it's the closest I'm gonna get, but a real Wolverine movie is rated R, and there's intestines being spilled
Yeah.
everywhere.
That's
the Wolverine movie I want. I'll probably never get it.
Now, see, I think Hugh Jackman does I don't think that there will ever be another actor that could really personify Wolverine the way he has.
Yeah, I have no qualms with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I love Hugh Jackman. He's been in a couple of my favorite movies just of all time. The Prestige is like top 3
Yeah.
favorite movie of mine ever. I love Hugh Jackman. I've got no issues with that. And I really don't have any issues in any of the past movies with his performance. It gets a little kiddie, I guess, in some of the stuff. Origins is just a garbage movie, but it's not because of him.
No, it could really be put down to Deadpool for me. He just
Oh yeah, that's the total.
that's the whole turn off
bomb
to
of
everything. But with
Plus,
this,
there's weird timeline quirks, like it's supposed to
Yeah.
be in like the 60s, and Cyclops is like 15, but then in the other movies he's like 30, and it's in the 2000s. Like there's just weird time lapses that they don't really account for.
yeah.
But beyond that movie,
In this one though, I think this is the darkest of all the X-Men by far. I know
Yeah.
it needs to be rated R to really be the Wolverine that is pictured in the comics, but
yeah,
this is the darkest that I think we'll get for it. And really,
I
they
agree.
do a phenomenal job with all the fight scenes, in my personal opinion. The only thing that I didn't care for in this show was the random love interest of the Japanese rich girl. That I was just like, where is this coming from and why? But I get it at the same time. How are we going to get this all tied back to the grandfather?
I know that this movie is based on, in some capacity, on one of the comic lines
Yeah.
in the past. I didn't read that comic line. I'm not exactly sure what the relationship is, but I would imagine there was some kind of a love interest in something. And I really didn't mind it, because it kind of gave him, like, that was the whole reason for, because they kept talking
him to
about, like,
fight.
yeah, like he needed to find something, that was worth living for still or whatever, and, that kind of, I understood the necessity in terms of the storyline for her needed to be there, so that didn't really bother me.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of cool action in this one, too. I was pretty happy in terms of that. I thought the fight on top of the bullet train was pretty cool.
Yeah. The few things that gave me flashbacks was there's this little bug that's attached to his heart, because apparently that's where all mutant powers come from. And I just saw it and I'm like, oh, it's the Matrix bug. It's just coming in and inhabiting his body. And then
Wolverine took the blue pill.
Yeah, he took the blue, and now he's really screwed. But the other part was when he's fighting the father figure, and he's just cutting him up with his little katana sword. He stabs through him, and there were certain points where I was just like, how did that not hit a bone and stop, because he's full of adamantium.
Because it's complete adamantium.
Yeah. Where I'm just
I don't
like,
Well, because it's really sharp, man. It would just find a hole.
oh,
sure.
gotcha.
I didn't like that was part of the movie that bothered me a little bit. I didn't like how much that dude was kind of kicking his ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if Wolverine didn't have his healing factor, he would have totally died. like that the 50-year-old, samurai dude was like kind of owning him a little bit.
For a bit,
like,
and
man.
that was like the dark edgy part of it. He's just like, I think Wolverine at that point was just enraged, didn't care about fighting technique, and
I'm sure, but
of course, the Japanese part of this feature, the thing that really made it worthwhile.
Oh, I'm back. I'm listening.
was the technical aspect of his fighting and everything like that. But at the same time,
Yeah,
I'm
real
like,
Japan of them.
yeah, his adamantium. Why did it not just? I don't know. I just want his adamantium to break through all
And
metal
for the listeners
and cut
out there,
through everything.
that
it
adamantium
does.
is the whatever his blades are made out of.
The metal.
Yep.
they're not made out of it. They're coated in it.
Yeah, he's got bones.
Stupid.
Showed it in the beginning.
Don't you remember the bone claws at
Nagasaki.
at the end?
Or was it Hiroshima?
Duh.
Do you remember the part where the girl?
I will say this: I'm gonna be super, super pissed if like every movie he's in from now on he has shitty bone claws. That's
Yep.
gonna piss me off.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding you, man. Like and they're gonna have to, right?
I
Like
don't
in
know.
Days of Future Past, they're probably gonna have
Well,
to
I mean,
give him crappy bone claws.
he's able to take that sword with two hands and make it like heat up the adamantium. There was another issue of mine. You heat up adamantium once, and then it will stay solidified in that form for forever.
Yeah, we learned that in X2.
Yes, and now they're all like, "Oh, if
Well,
you
it never melted though. You know what I mean? It kept its form. It just got really hot.
yeah."
And it's not like when he cut the blades melted either. It just cut through them. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. That's superhero logic. Whatever. That
The
comes
nerd
along.
in me.
That comes along with this territory, I guess. But
yeah.
I was a little like weird about it too. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm buying like that.
That
Whatever's
whole-
in that sword, I don't know what's making it so freaking hot that it's like
I was
putting the white hots to adamantium.
I was appreciative that he was able to, in that fight, cut off both sets of blades. Because if he just had one, I don't know if I was going to be able to handle it. I probably would have left the movie. All right, I'm done. How does he only have one blade left?
Yeah.
But they got him all, so thank goodness for symmetry in my OCD mind.
You know, one of the things
He's
that
got to get that other blade.
One of the
Either that or
things
he's got to
that,
grow the other one's back. I don't know.
one of the things that concerned me, watching all this stabbing with his blades and stuff, and they retract back into his body.
Yeah.
Isn't AIDS a factor for Wolverine?
No,
because
because
he
he,
has a healing
regenerates
factor.
like nobody's business. His body will kill anything that tries to
But he
even
was-
He's like-
inhibit him.
But he
At
was,
the point of this movie, he's like 300 years old.
But he lost his ability to regenerate.
Yeah, but
No,
he
he
got it
did-
back later.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say he had AIDS in this movie for a short amount of time, or SARS.
I don't know where you
Or
think he got.
SARS.
SARS can be cured by chicken noodle soup and cans of Sprite. We've learned that.
Again,
South
Nelson,
Park
this
taught
took
us
place in
that.
Japan.
I don't know why you think like he got AIDS, and even if he did get AIDS, like why you think AIDS like immediately started to kill him, because it just takes years to kill like normal people.
Does someone in this podcast have AIDS?
Cameron?
And does his name start with a P and end with all?
No, AIDS free since 1999, baby. Y2K.
Why do
Paul's mom gave him AIDS when he was in the womb.
Hey.
You said since 1999, dude. Where do you think you got it? You were 9 years old.
I was still in the womb when I was 9.
No, but you had it at 9.
Oh, was
You
someone
had
in
it
this
from
podcast
birth
sexually
from birth
assaulted
until
as a
9.
child?
Does his name start with P and end in all?
Oh gosh. Well, getting back to this, the Wolverine here, I liked it better than all the other ones, and I was gonna be hard pressed to like it more because I just love Magneto, and then I just need him in everything. And
Well, you got a little.
yeah, you
got
get a little
taste.
of that sugar at the end. For all of you, wait 3 minutes into the credits, and you're gonna see.
And you get
some...
to see Gandalf without his beard. Ooh,
Yeah.
whoop-de-doo.
No, no, good sir. First of all, you hear Trask Industries. He looks up at the TV. That is important because that's just a leadoff letting me know that Sentinels are coming.
Yeah, I informed Paul.
All right.
Peter Dinklage will be playing
Yeah.
Boulevard Trask, by the way, in the
I know.
Days of Future Past. I'm very excited about that.
Really excited.
I
for all you
enjoy-
Game
I
of
enjoy the
Thrones
dink.
fans.
What's that?
For all of you Game of Bones fans.
Who isn't?
Indeed.
Come on, man. That show's sweet.
Khaleesi.
All right.
At
Let's,
any rate, we're wrapping this up with
Some knuckle knives, please.
Some knuckle knives,
Let's
indeed.
wrap this up.
Knuckle knife.
The AIDS is flaring.
Well, I'm going to give it 8 knuckle knives out of 10 knuckle knives. I liked it a lot.
I'm gonna give it. Yeah, I'd probably give it 8 too. This was definitely the best thing we've watched so far. I might even go 8.5 on it. I really did like it.
Bring
I really
back
did
the 20
enjoy the
point
movie.
scale.
Yeah.
Thank
You can't tie me down to 10 points.
Ooh, I like it. Overall, for everyone who didn't know, domestically did 55 million, but foreign, this is where it goes off the charts.
Blew
it did
up.
Let me guess.
86.
Oh,
In Japan, it was
sorry.
huge.
Japan got it all the
Did
way
it
up there.
did it do 86 total outside of America?
Yeah,
or
86
86 with the American
86 total.
So it did well in
outside.
Japan.
So it did like 120 total
Yeah.
opening weekend.
It was no, it did 141. Do your math, man. 55 plus
yeah.
86.
Yeah,
So,
I did a rough.
all right. Well, 141, which is definitely above X-Men Origins Wolverine for opening day. Well, nationwide.
It's
I
gonna
should say.
outdraw that movie.
Yeah,
There's no
well,
way it doesn't. I don't even
actually-
think that movie did that well.
no, in America, opening weekend, it did 85 million. So it's down 30 million. But
nationwide
yeah, nationwide.
or
but,
worldwide, I mean.
But overall, worldwide, for X-Men Origins Wolverine, it did 179 million. So it dropped off dramatically after its first weekend. Where this
we were
one,
still in a bit of a peak of X-Men stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that was
exactly.
before like all the other Marvel stuff started coming out.
Mhm.
You know, the Marvel universe hadn't really been established. It was just like Fox doing all the superhero movies at the time.
and really, they had it down. Like you were like, this is the pinnacle of where we're gonna get with comic books converting to movies. You're
Not even close.
not even close. Thank goodness. So
Yeah,
oh,
I didn't feel that way until Iron Man came out. Like even
Yeah.
seeing Spider-Man and X-Men.
Spider-Man 1 through 3 are some of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Tobey Maguire.
I hate all three of them. It is Tobey Maguire.
yeah.
It is Tobey Maguire. He is terrible.
He's just a whiny voice. You can't get out of the whiny voice.
He's got a baby face. That's what my problem is.
I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. It's a combination of the two, I guess, for me. Plus, he just looks like a douche.
Yeah.
James Franco did a good job.
No, he didn't.
Let's-
James Franco sucks.
Get off
Let's
that.
give him a little.
I just want to say this: they can't handle Japan.
They did never put Spider-Man in Japan. That's true.
They did never put him there.
All right, so can we move forward from this Wolverine jamboree?
Well, I'm trying to delay our next conversation as long as possible.
Why have we put ourselves through this, and why are you guys doing such a good job of torturing us, viewers?
Remember when I was like pitching this idea and I was like, we should watch all those terrible things on Netflix.
Yeah, those
'cause no
funny, those ones that nobody watches.
we should watch those and then like tell people about them because they'd probably be really funny. And then it's like, oh my god, this is just awful.
Oh wait, I actually gotta watch it.
Yeah. Can I just look up the synopsis on IMDb?
Right. All right. So,
So,
yeah,
anyway,
that leads
so,
into our horrible Netflix movie of the week.
We did not go with my nomination this week, which would have been sweet.
No, we didn't.
Awesome.
We went with 500 mile per hour storm. I think the name does it a little bit of justice there.
Yeah.
It really blows. But,
It has a 2.25 star rating on Netflix, though. So
It was recommended to me at 1 3/4 stars.
whoa.
That's how much it thought I would like it.
so, what did you guys gather from the first opening sequence of this movie? Like, what was
That it was-
going on from what you saw? Because I
That
had
it was
I was
horribly
struggling
acted.
with understanding what was going on in the beginning of this
Dude,
movie.
the story was all over the place. There's no way I can even. It's gonna be like it was 2 weeks ago when we did the frickin' Poultrygeist one. It's just there's no jumping off point to even talk about it because the story
Yeah.
is just everywhere. I
So-
mean the opening scene is essentially, or actually not the opening scene. It takes place in like that command center when the storm first starts happening.
The
but-
Apollo station is what they're calling
Yeah.
it in the movie.
Well, dude, whatever. I don't know. When I
And
was
you get all
watching the
those
movie,
air balloons.
when I was watching it at first, though, I will say that the black like operator guy, Simon, I think his name was. I thought that was the general from Pacific Rim at first, just because of the mustache. I was like, is that the same guy?
He's
out it
gone.
wasn't.
He went way up because this one, for everyone who does watch it, it was made in 2013. So,
Hot
Ooh,
off
we
the
picked
press.
a new one. Yeah.
indeed.
Fresh for our eyes. So yeah, I just want to talk about. I want to kind of establish some sort of story for the listeners out there. So what I could
You want me
conjure
to
from this.
you want me to read the summary for you?
Do you have it up?
Yeah.
I do have it up.
Okay, read
When
it.
when an energy experiment goes haywire, a rash of massive hurricanes rips across North America. A high school science teacher, isn't it always a high school? It's not an actual like scientist. A high school science teacher must get his family to safety before the hurricanes merge, creating a hypercane with the power to wipe the U.S. off the map. That word came up about 45 minutes, 50 minutes into the movie, and I just checked out. I'm sorry. For those of you that don't understand the intricacies of like weather dynamics, apparently if you get two massive hurricanes close enough together, they'll just basically like amorphously connect with each other and form what is known as a hypercane, which is apparently the size of Texas, according to
No, it's the
according
size
to
of
the movie.
Australia in the review I'm reading.
Oh, maybe that was like a small level hypercane.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like two hypercanes hit each other, and then it's like the size of Australia. Of
Oh,
course,
man.
maybe Texas is the size of Australia. I don't know. Fuck. I don't know how big Australia is. Anyway, so you already know what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
The worst thing about it, there was two things I noticed that were like really off-putting about this movie outside of everything about it. But number one was like they had these really awkward transitions, like
They had the fades to black.
yeah, they had the fades to black, but like they would fade to black before some of the lines were over. Like
Yeah.
a guy would still be talking,
talking.
and then it would have like the last two words of his sentence would have been over a black screen. It
Yep.
was just weird.
There was
So really
horrible-
shoddy, poorly edited type.
I love that
crap
everyone
like
has
that.
to have the white lab coats. The intro to them coming back to the lab is everyone's just drinking some scotch and wine. Hey, congratulations. Good job, guys, on starting the experiment. By the way, we haven't finished or monitored any of our results. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. That bugged me.
The thing that I love the most is in the beginning when the science teacher takes his family out on these hot air balloons. They're at some sort of hot air balloon festival, and the storm comes in.
Because apparently that's a thing.
Yeah, the storm comes in.
Sorry, hot air balloon venturous.
And they're like,
Didn't
"Oh,
mean to
there's a
offend."
storm coming. We gotta get down." So he gets them down. They get into the car, drive back home. The storm's chasing them the entire way, and they're like apparently the
And
only
keep
two
in
people
mind-
in the world that are getting chased by the storm.
Yes. They like everyone else was already dead. Like
Yeah.
this storm was so huge. Like everyone was dead, but apparently it was just trailing right behind them.
Yeah.
And it was so weird too because it was just like when the storm was chasing them, it was just like this tornado that was just like following them along the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like exactly where they went. It
Then
was
they
just
get
so
to
weird.
they get to the house, and the son was like, "Good driving, Dad. Dad, Mom, where'd Dad go? Dad, where's Mom?" Like
what a little douchebag the
that's
son
all he
was in
could
the
say
beginning
was
too.
Mom and Dad. He couldn't think for himself in any situation. He was always like, "Mom, Dad." So
He was such there. I do remember like this one line in it where he was like, they're like driving from the storm or something, and the kid was like, "Well, why don't we just go back to the house?" And his parents were like, "Cause the house is fucking gone, probably."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, if we go back to the house, I can use
get
the
on
internet." Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
How could that actor even have like done it with a straight face? Like,
When they were in the house before they left, the the kid tries to turn the TV on, and he's like, "The TV's not working." And the dad, the science teacher, is like over the top with the action stuff, and he's just like in the most serious face. He's like, I've never seen that happen before.
When they were leaving the house, this was like where I first noticed like the weird transitions too. Like right as they were leaving, the kid was kind of giving him a little bit of lip about like leaving the house the first time.
Yeah.
And like right before it transitions out, he like gets his wife and his son out the door, and he's like, "And don't give me any back talk."
Yeah.
That was
Like
I
off
laughed
screen,
pretty
like
hard
during
that.
one of the fade to blacks.
Yeah.
They weaseled in there.
My favorite part of this is he's trying to get like a read of this hurricane as it's over top of him, which it's supposed to like very well just suck everything up and out of the ozone layer. And this guy's able to like hang on to this well basically and
yeah.
like
Yeah.
get his readings. Like he's strong enough. You see this hurricane right here.
Yeah,
that's-
it's ripping like the side, like it's just ripping skyscrapers apart. But it's not gonna tear up that
Yeah.
tiny little well cover you're hanging on to.
he's about into the eye of this thing almost, like at the worst part of this hurricane, and he is nowhere close to being like sucked up or anything. It's just
There's no like rain or anything at that point either. It's just
No.
like, it's like there's like someone took like an oversized vacuum cleaner and like was trying to suck him off the ground.
yeah, that was it. There, like his hair wasn't even moving that much. Just looked like he
Yeah.
was kind of upside down for a few minutes.
There was another weird thing I was noticing in this movie, and I hope you guys notice it too. Was like, did you see like how they had this excessive use of like slow motion all the time?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like it was
all
like they
the-
had this special effects pack, and they're like, okay, I don't care about the script or anything about this movie. We're gonna do the effects, and then we'll tie
How many
in the
times can I
dialogue.
jam this into this movie?
Because you see the green screen like edges around him.
the green screen, the very last scene of the movie, they're looking at like this devastation of like this town that they're
Yeah.
like landed by. It's like one of the shoddiest like green screen things I've ever seen in my life. It is terrible.
It confuses me.
terrible.
Like it's copy paste like from
Right.
Photoshop.
Right. I know, it's awful.
Yeah.
But to touch on like the weird slow motion thing again, there was so much of it in the movie that I think if you would have taken those parts and ran them at normal speed, you'd have cut 25 minutes off the movie.
Oh yeah. They milked.
I'm
the
not even.
slow-mo.
I don't even think it's a joke either. Like, it was. After you got through like the first half hour of the movie, I would be hard pressed to tell you that less than at least 20 minutes of the last hour was in slow motion. I'm not even joking. It was ridiculous.
For everyone out there, there was a certain part where they're looking at the computer system that's monitoring this hurricane, and it's just video editing software. It's no like actual. It's not a hurricane reading
forward and
fake
reverse.
software. They just took a photo editing, video, and colorization desktop software system, and that's what they're looking at. And like, oh no, it's coming here. It's like you just changed the color from red to blue.
They just click
How-
play on the QuickTime video.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was really bad. And then everyone just, okay, this big hurricane is tearing through all of America, and everyone's still able to communicate. Like there's no cell phone towers that are out of service. Nothing like that. They're
No, they
fine.
made a point that it was in the beginning. Like they couldn't use their internet or anything early on.
Yep.
But then conveniently later, as the storm progressively got worse, they were able to somehow they were able to use that. How about like the resolution of the whole problem too? They shoot a light beam into
Yeah.
like the eye of this. Like what the? Like he tried to explain. Like they tried to give the main character like this like short-lived monologue where he was like explaining the science behind how it would work. And I'm not. It boiled down to basically this. He was like, if we shoot a light beam into the eye of the hurricane, then it'll dissipate the clouds. And the guy is over there and he's asking him like, well, why will that work? And he's like, well, because they're polar opposites of each other, and that way it'll
neutralize each
create,
other.
It'll neutralize each other. It'll create disparity between the two. And then why
Give the
nobody
movie an
was
extra
like,
20 minutes.
Yeah, why nobody was like, what the fuck are you talking about? What the hell does shooting light into the middle of this?
We gotta-
Like, how is that even reasonable?
We got a real
So-
sweet effect for that.
yeah. Seriously, that's what it was. So basically, this is what the synopsis or the final of the story is. I'm gonna assume no one listening is gonna go ahead and watch this thing.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler
Uh-oh.
alert. They killed a storm with a laser beam.
Yep.
That's how the movie ended. They shot wind with a laser. and that was it. And it broke it up.
And then they had to destroy the laser, and the competent helicopter pilot was not able to shoot a missile, so he had the high school science teacher.
All science teachers have a pilot's license.
They just have an app.
How convenient he was able to fly the helicopter to get him to safety earlier in the movie in the first place.
So before we talk about that, really quick, one of the things in the middle of the movie that bothered me so bad was he had to get to the Apollo station to give them the coordinates of where the hurricane was going to be to shoot it with light.
But because that was right before the cell phone service came back. So
right. So he couldn't communicate with them, so he had to leave his family to go tell them what to do, right? So he leaves his family up in the mountains where the tornadoes can't get to them. He takes off, and he meets up with these army guys and essentially just gives them the coordinates, and then he takes back off to go save his family.
Yeah, because there was like a fire starting.
He's like,
for
my family's up there.
And the guy is like, go get him. I've got it. Go save your family.
So that was like 40 minutes of...
Yeah. Well, that was another way. Well, they had a
It's
sweet
a
fire
full
effect,
circle.
so they had to squeeze that sucker
And they
in
put
there.
some slow motion running through the fire.
There was slow motion throughout the whole thing, dude.
Yeah.
It was unreal. The first time I saw it, I was like, that's weird that they had slow motion here, like during these... It was such crappy slow motion, too. Like, there's this part where, like, him and his family are, like, running through this shallow water, like a lake bed or something.
Random
And
dead body floating in it. I like that.
Yeah,
touch.
yeah, there was that. And then, like, it almost looked like they didn't, like, put it in slow motion. They just told the actors, hey, run in slow motion.
We can only go so far with the slow motion effect, so we're going to need you to drag out.
Guys,
the
it's really slowing down our computer trying to edit
We've only
this
got
thing.
15 minutes of slow motion, though. We need another 5 minutes of it.
Our license doesn't
Seriously,
permit.
I was
if
just
you
gonna
watch
say.
the sun, it looks like he's, like, high-stepping through the water. It's just, like, it's really awkward.
Guys,
Yeah,
I
he's an
only have
awkward runner.
$200 in the budget for 15 minutes of slow-mo.
What about, like, the part, like, pretty early on in the movie where, like, that vagrant or whatever, like, was attacking his wife with the dog, who had the dog tied up in the car? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. That was so random.
Yeah, it just, like there was just, like, this dude,
Well,
and...
So hold on. Let's give
let's
the listeners some perspective here.
Okay.
They're running away from the storm yet again, and they pull up on this what is essentially a car accident, or where two vehicles were ripped up by the storm. First of all, the thing that really throws off this scene is that the cars are super dated, like straight up, like junkyard cars,
Like 1982 jalopy.
They're
yeah.
like covered in rust, so it looks like somebody just like dumped two cars in the middle of the road. And then out of nowhere,
Like the husband gets out of the car
Yep.
and is like over doing whatever.
Go ahead.
And then all of a sudden this like I felt like it was trying to give you the idea like that the whole world was like in this apocalyptic like wasteland, even though it's been like 20 minutes after this storm started.
Yeah.
Or supposedly. The whole world is dead, but it's been around for like 20 minutes. And like people are already so desperate that they're like trying to steal cars and crap. But that was like the only nod to that going on in the whole movie. Like it's in like the first 20 minutes of the film, and you don't see anything like about it again throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah. The kid throws in a one-liner there. He's like, "Oh, you gotta teach me to punch like that, Dad," or something.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
The high school science teacher like lays out the freaking homeless dude who's like 6 feet taller than him, by the way. He just lays him out, and the son is like, "Oh, you gotta teach me how to do that."
Another
This thing was
awkward
awful.
son moment is when before they get in the helicopter, he's like, "I got the keys, and I know where it is."
And I know where it's at.
And
Yeah.
by the way, the helicopter is like what, a mile away from the base in the middle of
Yeah,
the woods.
that was when they were doing the awkward slow motion running. I mean, it was probably only like 30 feet away, but with all the slow motion,
Yeah.
it took like 5 minutes to get there. Gosh. All right, I'm done with 500-mile-an-hour storm.
But it's not done with us.
No, it's not. We need to make executive decision here. I don't. What did you guys do with Snakes on a Train last week? Did you vote it
We voted
worse
better.
or better than Poultrygeist?
It was better than Poultrygeist.
It was
It was
better,
better than
by a
Poltergeist.
lot.
by a lot. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I would. Where are we at here?
My vote is that it's definitely worse because
Poultrygeist
Poultrygeist is trying to be bad, And that's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like that cult thing they got going on with those, was it Torah or Troma films?
Trauma. Yeah.
And I think
that was
this movie legitimately was trying to be, like an end of world storm movie. And
It had, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was trying to be 2012 or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the impression I got too. I think Poltergeist was just absolute garbage, but that is like the style
That's what he's going
that
for.
production company goes for.
Right.
That's what they produce. This thing actually had like not good production value, but it tried to give you like some production value in the movie. But
Yeah.
it was just terrible, and the acting was just god awful. And it was unbelievably bad, this thing. I think it's definitely worse than Poltergeist 2. I would watch Poltergeist before I watched this again.
Yeah,
For
no,
sure.
I totally agree. Where you at, Nelson?
I'm in the same boat here, or I should say in the same hot air balloon as you guys. Oh.
We're in
So
the
this-
same hypercane.
So on our quest to discover the absolute worst movie on Netflix, 500 Mile an Hour Storm is in the lead
Is our new base.
right now.
Yeah. I'd give it 5 less rotten eggs. So it's at -5 rotten eggs from Poltergeist.
Wait, 5 less. Didn't we give Poltergeist 5? So
No,
it's at 0.
Poltergeist
So
is the baseline. If
okay.
for
So
everyone
so
who
it's yeah.
that,
Well, no, now this is the new baseline,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah, we're at an all-time low.
I think we're just trying to find the worst thing on Netflix. That is the end game
Yeah,
here.
I think so. And so far, it's 500 mile per
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah.
And the scary thing is, this came out this year, so
Yeah.
it's always going to get worse.
Oh, okay.
It's true.
It'll never end.
Well, I think I said in the first episode we did this, I was like, I can't wait till we find the thing worse than Poltergeist. And we found it not even
Yeah.
3 weeks later.
two weeks later, and I was not as excited as I thought I would have been. I was just extremely disappointed and upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't get any better.
God. All right. I think that probably wraps it up going into break here. Yeah, guys.
Indeed. Stay tuned. Coming up next, Cameron Miller will be giving a little treat to Caitlin Moore, a request to read some of the ballads of Poltergeist. Stay tuned, everybody.
Woo woo.
We'll be back.
We can sell this podcast.
All right, so as Nelson teased here for the beginning of the second half, we had a listener request a couple weeks ago, but due to the scheduling mix-ups, we couldn't really do it last week. But I'm here to do it now. I'm going to be performing one of the sexual musical segments from our original horrible Netflix movie, Poltergeist: Night of the Chicken Dead. But before I begin, we need to get a little bit of the logistical stuff out of the way, so let me just go through my spiel here, and then I will start. The following segment is being performed at the behest of a fan of the soon-to-be widely popular WCST podcast. All lyrics and imagery derived therefrom do not accurately represent or reflect the opinions of Cameron Miller, nor do they properly represent the personality, demeanor, or social tact that he holds dear. This segment may not be reproduced without the expressed written consent of Major League Baseball, as well as one of its constituents, that one namely being Cameron Paul Miller. Without further ado, this podcast ruefully presents a seductive retelling of a sexual musical from the film Poltergeist: Night of the Chicken Dead, as performed by Cameron Miller. All these fried chicken wings I'm serving, they make me yearn for your breasts, legs, and thighs. My hunger for you is unswerving. Without you, my heart starves and dies. All these protests and speeches I'm making to end chicken suffering and slaughter, his only response is that I'm faking, that I'm gay, like daughter of Dick Cheney's daughter. My meat in your buns makes such special sauce. Gay seems my way, to quote Robert Frost. Could be nostalgia for all that is lost. Could it be our love is star-crossed? I sure miss getting my salad tossed. You are my fries, and your shake makes me shiver. You're a happy meal sent from above. Can this drive-through called life deliver a heavenly, slow, fast food love? Since that night, all I have is self-pleasure. Bumping uglies real hard we did grind. With tissue and hand cream, I try to remember how you stuck this thing. How you stuck this thing up my rear ender. With my partner in bed, I am yearning to feel pleasure and passion that's true. But only thoughts of you keep me burning. Memories of your meat makes me stew. All right. Never, ever again. I'd like to point out that when I originally planned on doing this podcast, I believed that maybe at some point it might have some professional ramification for me. This
Out the window.
I have completely ruined that
Yep.
opportunity.
Any competition you have at getting a job is going to be like, I heard that Cameron Miller's applying for this. Just get one shot.
Are you talking about the gay meat stew kid?
I hear he missed getting his salad toss.
Salad toss. Yeah. So that is the dedication and commitment to our fans we have right there. I'm willing to throw my career in the toilet. Potential career.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just hope everyone takes my legal notice to heart before they start spreading that around.
Yeah, I'm going to cut that up and make YouTube videos of that.
That would be unfortunate for me. All right. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's move on. We're a little late to the party here again, but we had Comic-Con about, what was it, ended on the 21st or so about a week ago.
Yeah.
And there was some big movie news to come out, so we have kind of bagged the game section, so I'm sure some of our listeners will be happy to hear that. They can listen to the whole podcast this week.
Woo!
Yeah, pumped up.
Yeah.
The big things we had some Guardians of the Galaxy news, another Marvel Phase 2 movie. We had some Avengers 2 news, some X-Men Days of Future Past stuff, and then the big reveal, the Superman-Batman team-up versus thing. So let's start with the first one I mentioned there. Let's get into the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff.
All right.
So right off the bat for me, what the hell is the Guardians of the Galaxy? This isn't the Justice League, is it?
No. Justice League is DC.
Mm.
This is Marvel. I guess it's somewhat an equivalent to that. I mean, not heroes that you're going to be overly familiar with. This is not a... I wouldn't assume that this is a bigger Marvel franchise. I've followed Marvel my whole life, and this is one that I don't know a ton about. I know the team a little bit. You've got Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, and Rocket Raccoon, I think is all of them.
Yeah. So how they're
That's
going
the
to
four
do...
main guys.
Okay.
But outside of that, I don't really know the backstories or anything. So I'm actually really excited that they're doing this for a couple reasons. One, I mean, the character models themselves look really cool. So, I mean, that alone seems like it's, just a cool thing to do. But I like that Marvel is, like, doing some of these less heard of franchises. Like, we have the Ant-Man movie coming out, like, in 2015 or something, too. So these lesser known, like, big named Marvel characters that they're bringing into the fold. I really like that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of, while this isn't one of them that I followed, there are a lot of smaller tiered Marvel characters that I really, really like. And this just gives me, hope that I might see some more of them in the future. So
I think with this
makes it
one,
pretty cool.
I like how it's not focused on any one hero. I think it's kind of like how it's jumping into this squadron of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives us a little team dynamic, which we don't get from... I mean, we got it from the Avengers, but I think this is going to be something totally different than the Avengers.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot more in space. What I would imagine is, without knowing a whole lot about these guys, is that this is an opportunity, them being in space. This kind of ties in the whole Thanos storyline a little better. Mm-hmm. It's probably going to get to bring that storyline full circle. So that would be what I would imagine this is the purpose for this movie. And it was leaked by one of the actors or writers or something, but during Comic-Con that Thanos is going to be in this movie. So that will be sputtering that storyline along until what looks like Avengers 3 is when everything's going to kind of come full circle, would be my guess.
Yeah.
So
I think, because I was the same way as you, Paul. Like, I've never even heard of this, and I follow Marvel comics and everything like that at the point of loosely, if at all. And really all I have is, did they make it into a cartoon? Cool. If they did, I know about it, and I know a little bit more than an average just passerby. But this one,
I think most people who I think are dealing, or that come in to watch these superhero movies, I mean, you have your hardcores, which isn't me. I would say that I'm probably a step below that. Then you have probably the step below me, which is probably closer to Nelson, which you have a little bit of extended knowledge about stuff. And then you have like that casual fan, which is basically when it comes to Marvel, okay, Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really all that I know.
And that's right. And that's basically, those are the big three, I would say, for Marvel. So
now that we've classified everyone, I really feel that hearing this movie, you see in Comic-Con, they bring him out. They bring out the writer first, and then they just start listing off all the people that are going to be in this movie. And the three main little wow pieces for me was Chris Pratt, number 1, and then Zoe Saldana, number 2, and then Benicio del Toro. Benicio. And to see that, I was like, it caught my attention, and I started looking a little bit more seriously at what's this movie even gonna entail,
right.
And basically what I got from it was that the Guardians of the Galaxy, it starts off with, I think the main like guy, Peter Quill or Star-Lord. He's a jet pilot, gets stranded in space, and he needs to unite a diverse team of aliens that form a squad capable of defeating some kind of bad dude. Something's coming up. So I mean, it doesn't seem like a bad thing, but I also see this movie going two ways. One, really cool. I have no expectation for this movie, so honestly, kind of a low expectation for it, but
I wouldn't say I have low expectations because Marvel has done so well in the past, but I don't think it's a movie you can have expectations for because you don't have any expectations for the characters.
I don't have anything at all. And then the other way I see it going is like the way of the Green Lantern, and just
no, I don't think
going
there's
that bad for me though personally. Like kind of like I said, I don't really know too much about this, the origins of this story, but for me, it could go like Fantastic Four, where a lot of people don't really know what it is, and
but the original ones were by Fox, and they're just freaking terrible. They're just awful movies, those ones.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This I'm with Nelson. I would like I like that I'm walking into this kind of blind and see where it goes.
I'm pretty excited about this one. I have no worries about it being a good movie. I am fully on board with it. I'm sure it's going to be good. I have no issues at all. I have no worries.
Yeah.
But I think what's really kind of cool with it, and actually me and Paul were talking about this a little bit when we walked out of Wolverine, but I'm sick of seeing origin stories in movies.
Yeah.
With superheroes and crap like that. I know most of them, and a lot of them have been like retold. Like we've seen Spider-Man twice, we've seen Superman like 800 times already. We've seen Batman a couple times. It just gets old. Mm-hmm. But I think it's really cool when you have characters that nobody knows. Yeah. Nobody knows how these guys got to where they are.
Yeah.
So I mean, it opens up the opportunity to do an origin story that no one is familiar with, and that can be entertaining. Because origin stories are cool. It's just that the ones that they do movies on, we've heard 100 times
not when they've
already.
been reloaded within the past 15 years, like 3 times.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So I think that I'm excited for it. I'm really looking forward to this movie. I think it's going to be very good. Plus, there's a dude on the team who's a freaking raccoon. So that in and of
Space
itself,
raccoon,
and another guy who's a tree. So
hey, I mean, I'm already used to like Sly Cooper, So
Yeah.
So I
Heck
mean,
yeah.
you can't go
Hey,
wrong.
Rocket Raccoon made it into Marvel vs. Capcom 3, guys.
Whoa.
Sweet game. He's pretty awesome in that game too. I like it.
So, I mean, it's exciting. I do feel that what you're talking about, Miller, is a very good point of doing these smaller, not as well-known mainstream movies. Marvel is still saying, look, I think it's smart for them because, one, if this movie does incredibly well, I feel like there will be people that will say, I'm getting into this whole Guardians thing.
Yeah.
And I want to read these comics. I want to follow it. And it's basically mildly free advertising. And you get that like buzz about it, and you're going to have
This
a lot
movie's
more.
gonna do well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just sure it will.
If they do it right, and I think looking at the cast, this might have like a more funnier take.
I think it's going to.
than
I think
what it
Chris
originally-
Pratt says a lot
Right.
about that.
So I think if this formula works for this movie and they kind of bring up this lesser known Marvel series, I think they can use that same formula to bring back other things. You know, if this goes well.
I think what also makes it interesting is like this is kind of like this will probably be the big jumping off to point for Phase 2 for Marvel.
Yeah.
With Phase 1 culminating in the original Avengers, and then Phase 2 starting with Iron Man 3, and we've got Thor 2 coming up. I think that this one will be the one where everything kind of really starts to move forward
Yeah.
in Phase 2, and then obviously it'll probably culminate again when we get into the next movie we're going on to talk about, which is Avengers 2 Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
So, and which obviously also I'm sure will do great. But what do we want to say about that movie?
Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Yeah, 2.
Again,
There's not really a lot.
There's not a lot that was debuted at Comic-Con. I know that they showed a trailer, which was essentially
Unfinished.
it was a bunch of quotes from the first movie, and then they showed like Iron Man's helmet and then their armor and stuff like that. But the one thing, obviously, in the name Ultron, is essentially going to be one of the villains in this movie. And
He'll be the main guy.
Yeah, I did a little looking on this, and apparently Ultron was a robot or whatever that was created by Ant-Man, correct?
I can't remember. Hank Pym is who created Ultron, if I remember right. But I can't remember if Hank Pym is Ant-Man. I think they might be doing something different here, because I think that it was actually one of the things that they clarified was that Hank Pym was not going to be in Avengers 2.
So they were kind of
So-
leaning towards the fact
but they're
that this
doing-
could be Tony Stark's rogue
Yeah,
creation.
I could see that, because the rise of Ultron, or the culmination of how he comes about, is going to be different than it is in the comics, I'm sure. But they are doing an Ant-Man movie, so I mean, if they're not making Ant-Man Hank Pym, then I don't know exactly what's going on there yet. I don't even know if that information's out. But I'm pretty sure I did read that Pym was not going to be in this movie, which would lead me to believe that yes, it probably stems from Tony Stark. There was like a little bit of teasing with Vin Diesel at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
With him, like he said he has a vision of like being in a Marvel movie. Well, Vision is a character in Marvel. He's like another robot that's kind of similar to Ultron, kind of. I mean, he's a good guy, but he's like, yeah. So it looks like Vin Diesel might wind up playing that character, and he could have a lot to do with, like, you know, the creation of Ultron too. So who knows?
Really,
there's a lot up in the air
but-
still.
what happened at the end of? I'm sorry, Nelson. What happened at the end of this last Avengers? I can't recall like the last teasing moments after the.
At the end credits, all it
The
is
Thanos thing?
all they have at the very, very end. Yeah, they
Are you talking about the end of the movie or the teaser at the end of the credits?
I'm talking about the linking into what the story could be going into next, or did it?
That's
not have that?
that's no, it did. That was the Thanos thing.
Yeah, and
Remember, like
he
the aliens they were fighting, like got banished back through the hole or whatever, and it like, and the guy who you thought was running the mission there on Earth or whatever to try and take it over was like talking to his boss, and then like that guy turns around and like looks at and smirks at the camera like right before it cuts to black. That was Thanos. That's what it's teasing into.
Yeah. No,
Excuse me.
with this new one coming up, the Avengers: Age of Ultron, Joss Whedon basically describes that the story plan and the script and everything that they're going with, he's always had Ultron as kind of the second one to come up for the next team up movie of everybody, but it's not really following a ton of what the Ultron.
It's not canon.
Yeah, it's not following it. Just basically saying that it has little to do with what Ultron is in the Marvel comics. And
yeah, I'm sure they're using the premise of Ultron, and they're just probably tossing out the origin on him and making one for themselves.
Which is also like a good thing, I think, because they basically like tore apart Ultron in the Marvel Heroes video game. Like, it just basically all critically was just torn to shreds. It was garbage.
Well, I think they've got to take like a lot of creative. Like, if they had to bring in every character into the fold that like had, you know, tie-ins to everybody else, it'd take like decades to get this all on, you know, on film. So
Yeah.
I understand the use of creative license. I've got no issues with it. I'm sure that they'll do a fine job with what they're trying to accomplish. I really am not concerned about that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of offshoots that this could go from, because Ultron is basically formed from Iron Man's armor. So it could also be that, like, you know, Tony Stark's going rogue here.
No, it's not going to be
with
that.
Jarvis.
It could be, yeah. It could, I guess, potentially be like Jarvis, like
Going-
takes control of one of the suits and goes haywire or something. I guess that would be all right. But I would be shocked if
They take Robert.
Tony Stark is the villain.
Yeah,
So
who knows? But I mean, there's a lot of speculation behind it, and from Comic-Con we didn't get much.
it's early. I mean, what's the projected release on that one? Like 2016 or something
2015.
for Avengers 2?
Yeah, I thought so.
Yep. Summer 2015.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought we had another year on that.
No.
Well, anyway, it is still early though, so
Yeah.
we have a lot of information on the come, I'm sure.
Well, I think the other cool thing that it's going to bring about is Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
This is going to be interesting because they announced Quicksilver in X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah,
too.
that's the other thing.
So, and X-Men is still a Fox property, so I'm kind of wondering what's going to go on there.
They just
it gives
need
me
some...
it gives me like the tiniest bit of hope that maybe they could roll the X-Men back into the Avengers stuff.
Yeah.
Because Wolverine is in the like one of the new incarnations of the Avengers, and that would be freaking sweet. And actually, so is Spider-Man, so they could tie that whole thing back into. But I can't
Jackman
remember.
isn't getting any younger.
There's
No crap.
licensing issues with Spider-Man though. He's
Is
tied
there?
to
'Cause
Sony.
Yeah.
He is? All right.
Yeah.
I couldn't
So-
remember if Spider-Man was still a Marvel property or
No.
not. I know Fox has licenses still to like Daredevil, Fantastic Four, and the X-Men, and then apparently Sony has Spider-Man. So
But
way to sell out the house there.
I feel like that could just be some
Now
really
they got
great
all that-
PR reps bridging gaps here. I just feel like there's got to be another person that's a lot more competent and technically
Well, now-
skilled like me, or better than me, and could just bridge these gaps, just fix it. Say, hey, we just need to make a lot of money here.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it's all about money, they should
Then-
just do it.
Done.
Well, Marvel does have all the Disney money backing them up now too. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
not like I feel like if they really wanted the properties back, they could probably make a pretty firm offer and get them.
Either offer it or just do it and get faced with the fines.
F it.
did
You
it.
would never see that movie release in theaters. You would never make it.
Yeah, for crying out loud, they changed movies because I won't even get into it. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Moving on.
All right. Moving on. Since we brought it up, let's go with X-Men: Days of Future Past.
Super, super excited. Super intense.
I'm also excited. I'm not as excited for this franchise as I am for the coming developments in the Marvel sequences we're going to have coming up, but I'm still really pumped for it. I was nervous that they weren't going to tie the old one
with it.
Like the original trilogy to the First Class stuff.
Yeah.
Because they change. I mean, they did change. A lot of stuff is doesn't really match.
Yeah. There's a lot that gets misconveyed in there.
This movie is made to tie in First Class essentially, and we're
Yeah.
forgetting about the first three.
No, the newest one that's coming out is tying in the original 3 to that First Class one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the cool thing, I think the best way to describe it is we'll be putting a link on the website and showing you a few images of posters that they've already created for it. And the 2 posters, we actually got one of these posters at our theater about a week ago, and I opened it up and it just gave me goosebumps because it shows the old Xavier with the new Xavier, and you see, by the old Xavier and the new Xavier, I mean the one from the original trilogy and the one from X-Men Origins.
Patrick Stewart and James McAvoy.
Yeah, and
X-Men First Class, not
X-Men First Class, sorry.
Stupid.
And it has an X through them. It has an X through their face, and the one is in the X-Men First Class is in blue.
They're probably both wearing Cerebro helmets.
No, it's just their faces. That's the thing. And they put them right next to each other, so you kind of see oh, that totally could be him when he gets older. And then they have one of Magneto. So it's just Xavier and Magneto, and the X kind of inner. You just have to see the picture, because when you see it, you're like, okay, they're tying everything together here.
Put it online.
I
jerk.
will. So everyone gets that, and then
seems like you could share it with your podcast mates before you come on and talk about it.
Well, I'm sorry. Wanted to give you guys a little surprise wowing effect.
Well, that's fine, but you didn't have to bring it up and be all braggadocious about it. Ooh, I got the poster. Dick.
They got X's
Dick.
in their face.
Well, they also have other pictures of who's going to be in it. So they have Colossus, Wolverine, and Bishop, which is pretty friggin' sweet. And from the pictures itself, it doesn't disappoint.
It's pretty much got everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Kitty. At Comic-Con, they had a panel where they brought everyone out. You had Ellen Page back as Kitty Pryde. Halle Berry's back as Storm.
There's 14 of them.
Yeah, McAvoy's back as young Xavier.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart, old Xavier. Ian McKellen, old Magneto.
The only one that's rumored is James Marsden. And, oh, man, if he doesn't get in, I don't know what I'll do with my life.
Cyclops.
Yeah. I hope he is still dead. Cyclops is one of my least favorite comic book characters of all time. I hate him.
Yeah, agreed.
Hate his guts.
But we got Peter Dinklage, as you said earlier.
Bolivar Trask. I'm very excited for that.
Indeed.
So obviously we're going to have Sentinels in Days of Future Past. Actually, I guess we can get into that a little bit. I've read a little bit, and this is basically what I've surmised is the story to this one. At the end of First Class, the young Professor Xavier, played by McAvoy, loses his ability to walk. He gets paralyzed, and basically, I think from that point forward, he kind of loses his faith in people and stuff, and kind of becomes a little bit of a recluse.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the future, I'm assuming that the Sentinels have started to take over, and this program is really starting to kill all the mutants. Sentinels are basically mutant killing robots for anyone who doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously things have gotten really bad. So what I've gathered from the little bit at the end of Wolverine too is that somehow old Xavier is back from being dead. I'm gonna guess that he's a psychic manifestation of himself.
See,
I'm gonna guess that.
I think
I'm gonna guess he's not actually really alive.
Isn't he only in their minds? Isn't that
well,
what it is?
basically, what you see
that could potentially be it.
at the end of the third one is he actually comes back in this hospital bed where he was mentioned in the very beginning. There was just a vegetable. He had no mental processes whatsoever. There was no
he
mind
takes
in
over
there.
that mind.
So he took over that one, and they're Professor, is that you? So you're okay, he's in someone else's body, but obviously he could project his own physical image into someone's mind. So
right, I'm sure it's gonna be something like that. But basically, what's happening is that Magneto and him have gotten together and been all right, look, we gotta set aside everything here, and we have to figure this out and make sure this Sentinel thing doesn't go down. So apparently, they're sending Wolverine back in time.
Yep.
To try and basically give young Xavier a kick in the ass and get it in gear,
Yeah.
so that this doesn't go down. Yeah.
A little.
I mean, I
self-help
think it's a really cool.
take on everything.
So it should be like X-Men,
I will say
Back to the
this.
Future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this. I think Days of Future Past is like an actual comic book series. I think that was one of like the ones they made. So anybody who might be listening to this and is like thinking I just read the entire thing off of Wikipedia or something, I didn't do that, but I probably could have because it's probably that exact storyline. I just didn't read it. But I think it's gonna be really cool. I'm a lot more excited for it than I thought I was going to be. Like when I knew they were making a second, with the First Class bunch, I was like, oh yeah, that'll be cool. I like Fassbender as young Magneto. I think he does a really good job with that.
Yeah.
So.
If you look at who's writing the show or who's writing this movie, two of them are actually comic book writers for it. So
Yeah.
it's actually we're going to get
Authentic.
more true to the story, I think, in this than some of the other ones, which I think is good. I'm excited for that. And the fact that Jennifer Lawrence is back playing Raven, just perfect.
I do enjoy the Jennifer Lawrence.
Indeed.
Paul, was it you who was telling me that she's related to like the Lawrence brothers and that's why she's famous?
Yeah.
No, I had no idea that
Yeah,
was like
Brotherly
an
Love,
actual.
man.
Was she ever on Brotherly Love? You think?
I don't think so. And to be
that would've
honest with
been
you,
sweet.
I don't know if that's 100% true, but
I feel like it's
Just
not.
do
I feel like I would have
It's
heard
gotta
that
be.
before now. I'm googling it right now.
No, but her first movie was Winter's Bone, I think.
Winter's
so
Bone.
really quick
Yeah.
to talk about Jennifer Lawrence. They did have a couple things about the next Hunger Games movie there at
Don't do that,
Comic
Cameron.
Con. Did you guys like the first one?
I thought it was okay.
I enjoyed it. I mean, I never read the books. Everyone said to read the books, and really the movie's better than the books.
I think I said this to you, Paul, when the trailer came out. I was like, I would imagine, I'm sure I'll see the second one, and I'm gonna guess that I'm gonna like the second one better than I liked the first one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't really give a crap about like the coming from small beginnings first half of
The
the movie.
origins.
Yeah,
Yep.
Again, the origin stuff.
Cut the
So I really just the most entertaining part of it was when they were like in the games and stuff. This one will probably, if I had to guess, have even more action, which just bodes well.
Mm-hmm.
If Amberly Lawrence is wearing anything low cut, I will enjoy the film.
True.
Amberly Lawrence.
You mean
Or
Jennifer
Jennifer
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
We all had a
I
little
mix
panic.
her up. I say that all the time. There was a girl that we
I was
graduated
gonna say,
with.
wasn't
Yeah.
that somebody who
Yeah.
went to school?
Yeah, she was in like a couple grades below us, and I don't know why, but every time I mix up her name
It's
with
good
Jennifer
to know,
Lawrence.
though, Miller, that you are human, because I rarely, if ever, hear you do that. Where I had to second guess. That's why there was a pause. My brain is like double checking. Wait, I thought it was Jennifer Lawrence. Maybe it is Amberly
is.
Lawrence. I've just been saying Jennifer this whole time.
No, you're right. I don't know
Am I
why.
wrong?
That's just one that I always mess up. I don't even know why. I don't even really know Amberly Lawrence as a person either. I just know the name, and I always say it.
Yeah, I don't even remember who
So-
that is now. Anyways, moving forward, we have
Yeah.
one last thing to talk about, and I actually have something to contribute on this topic, and that is the next Superman movie is slated to be a Superman-Batman movie.
Oh yeah, and this is to gear up for Justice League.
Superman versus Batman. It's not even. It's
Right.
not like a team up thing apparently.
Yeah.
So.
So yeah, this should be pretty awesome. One of the big
Except for that,
things-
it's gonna be terrible.
and
it
why,
will be.
Why do you feel that it'd be terrible?
'Cause
This
Christian Bale
movie's
has a
going-
negative attitude about the
It's
whole-
not gonna be Christian Bale.
It isn't.
I think that's a good thing.
No.
That's a good thing.
Well, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's good because it would ruin the Christopher Nolan trilogy if he was in it. I don't think it's a good thing because it makes this movie better. I think
That
this movie will suck.
Or the Christopher Nolan Batman is done. We got our 3 movies. It's done.
This let me tell you right now, Superman Batman. This is what this movie is gonna be. We are 3 years out. I think this one actually does come out in 2016. So this is a-
2015.
I read 2016 on this the other day. I thought.
Nope. Looking at it right now.
Stupid. Whatever. Still forever out. We don't have any story. This is what it's going to be. Batman comes to Metropolis because there's some crap going down. He has a disagreement with Superman. He's got kryptonite in his utility belt. They wind up fighting. then they realize, oh wait, we should really be on the same team to get Lex Luthor because he's like taking over the country or some crap. That's what this story's gonna be. I guarantee that's what it is.
I think it's something about Lex Luthor coming down and like taking over Gotham in one way or another. There was something that I read online about him like running for president potentially or something like that.
Well,
and
that's a storyline in the comics where he runs for president.
That would be the thing that they would need to come together with, and maybe there's some sort of struggle with them coming together.
I don't think it's gonna be he's running for president. I don't think they'd set that up in one movie.
Well,
But I think it will have something to do with Lex Luthor, and they will be opposing forces at first, and then they will realize that they have to.
I think in that
unite.
comic that you're talking about, where that actually happens, there's something that involves the Joker as well. With that,
Yeah, I don't know. There maybe
So they might
not-
have to. Not only would they reload Batman, but they would reload
the Joker.
the Joker and all that.
and we just wouldn't know where we're going with it. We have no real identity other than Henry Cavill. And who do you think is going to play Batman? Because I just looked up since
Gordon Levitt or whatever.
No, it won't.
I don't think it's
it'll
going to be
have
him
any.
at all.
It's Ryan.
I don't think it'll be any tie to the Nolan stuff.
So the rumors that are being floated around is between two guys, Ryan Gosling or Tyler Hoechlin.
Who's that?
He's apparently in the MTV show Teen Wolf. So
What the fuck is that?
another horrible TV show to watch on Netflix.
I really like Ryan Gosling, but I don't like him as Batman at all.
Yeah.
He has blonde hair. Batman.
You can
has
dye it.
black hair.
I mean,
shut up.
Shut up. Yeah, he doesn't fit the image that I'm seeing.
He doesn't have the build either that I would think I want
Yeah.
for my Batman.
Why?
Not to go all homoerotic on everybody, but
I'm
he's just
thinking-
not really
I'm
the.
thinking maybe-
He doesn't have the sculpt I'm looking for.
I'm thinking
for my
maybe
Batman.
Hugh Jackman could come in as Batman.
Hugh Jackman.
and
Hugh
really
Jackman's gonna
just fuck
Ooh,
everything up.
let's just get Chris Evans. That way he can play every superhero ever.
Perfect.
He can be the Human Torch, Captain America, and Batman. Let's
Perfect.
just do that. I don't know. Let's jump on that. Who would you pick? Any actor you want can play Batman.
Any actor I want. Christian Bale.
Shut up.
George Clooney.
That would actually be. Oh my god, that would be
Bring him
hilarious if
back.
they brought one of the old ones back.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. And 50 Cent as the Joker.
I think I'd pick Don Cheadle.
Why? 50 Cent is obviously a more superior actor and song artist. If you don't,
Don Cheadle's got the acting chops, bro.
yeah, but he's not a triple threat like 50 Cent is.
I just typed Don Cheadle into Google, by the way. The number 2 thing after you type in Don Cheadle is Don Cheadle Captain Planet.
Oh,
So
wow.
I don't know what's going on there, but
Wow, but it
Yeah.
needs to happen right now. I have, that whole like 6
There's, like,
degrees thing.
images of him doing
I
that.
know Don Cheadle's daughter plays soccer, and her high school soccer coach is a guy that I once lived with in California. So,
So you know somebody that knows
two-
somebody that knows
2
some-
steps away from Don Cheadle, huh?
2 steps away from Don Cheadle, man.
Which means you're like 3 steps away from like any celebrity ever.
ouch.
Ooh.
Don Cheadle,
Who
if
would
he's
he
gonna be Captain
in
Planet.
Captain Planet? Heart?
Google Google.
No, he's gonna be Captain Planet, man.
Yeah, Google
Come
Don
on,
Cheadle,
you can't.
Captain
Everyone
Planet.
knows that Captain Planet.
I'm not
before
kidding
he
you
was
right now.
ice,
I'm seeing it
was
right now.
black.
Oh, okay. It's like a Funny or Die video.
Oh.
Don Cheadle's playing Captain Planet.
Oh,
Okay,
I think
then.
I've actually seen that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Right.
never mind.
Get that
Moving
off the
on.
plate.
I was moderately.
He doesn't have
excited
the
for like half a
build.
second. He doesn't have a build. He doesn't have. He doesn't really have like the white Aryan features I'd be looking for in Captain Planet.
All right. So back
with
to the
that
Batman
crew
thing.
cut
Okay,
haircut.
if I could choose anyone
and
to
the strong jaw.
Yeah,
if
go
I
back
could
to the
choose
Batman.
anyone to be Batman, it would
Dolph-
be Keanu Reeves.
That's terrible.
That's
You just
horrible,
made the
man.
worst pick.
I would put
Are you
him as
kidding?
I put him as Captain Planet before I put him as Batman.
I'm putting $20 down on Ben Affleck.
No.
No.
Yep.
He's the
That's
Daredevil.
that's
You
my
can't
guess.
do it.
He's a
All right, let's
Daredevil,
do it.
yeah. I wait, let me throw mine in there.
Yeah,
I
two
say
different universes.
I say
Hold on, don't
Michael's-
throw it in there.
Marvel
Don't
and
throw it
DC.
in there yet.
Okay. It's
All
on the
right,
tip
I
of
know
my tongue.
we're years away, but $20 on it. If anyone is right, the other two have to pay him $20.
Oh.
Throw your guess into the ring.
All right. So wait, let's
who's
make
playing
it
Batman.
100% official. No joking aside, Nelson. What is your pick?
Oh, don't pick me first. I gotta Google this for a second. I gotta get like profiles.
Gotta get the Google going.
Yeah.
I say, well, shoot, $20.
It's $20 3 years from now.
I know, but my
God,
vote, he might not even
And to be
alive.
perfectly honest, we're probably just gonna forget.
No,
about
we
it,
have this
so-
archive.
and we have listeners. We have Nick Burns.
Yeah, he'll come
Nick
back with
Burns
the
won't let us-
stats.
He won't let us forget.
I was
Alright,
going to
alright,
say
somebody
Michael
has to
C.
throw a
Hall.
name. Who?
Michael C. Hall.
Who's that?
He's the guy that plays Dexter on the TV show Dexter.
Seriously, that's your guess?
Yeah.
That's a terrible guess.
I know, but he's
Alright,
got
whatever.
he just got over cancer and all that, so he's not going to even be around.
Yeah, so he obviously can't be Batman.
I know.
Like cancer.
Oh,
All right.
gosh.
I've got 2 guesses here, and I can't decide which one I'm gonna pick. I'm either gonna pick Channing Tatum or I'm gonna pick Gerard Butler.
Way to
Sharon
go with the
Cameron.
masses,
Oh,
or with the
gosh.
with the
With the
what's
muscle
trending in
mass.
Hollywood right now.
Yeah, well, that's the smart pick.
Channing
Okay.
Tatum's G.I. Joe, and who's the other one?
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
You can only be one superhero at a time. Might as well throw.
Well, first of all, GI Joes aren't superheroes. They're not like affiliated with like DC or anything. At least not to my knowledge.
So which one do you pick as your number one? Because if you get one of those, I'm only giving you $10.
We should pick a number 1 and a number 2 worth $10.
Okay.
I'm picking Channing Tatum for my guess for who I know it's gonna be wrong, but
As
I can't think of
Batman?
anybody else. Yeah, I know it's a terrible
Dude, that's
cast. I know
horrible.
it's better than Michael C. Hall. mine has merit just based on popularity.
We got Nelson.
Okay. My first pick is Zachary Quinto.
Oh, the dude who
Quinto.
plays Spock.
Yeah, guy who plays
That's
Spock.
actually not terrible. I
Oh,
don't
that's,
hate that guess.
He could buff up. I could see him doing it, and I really just am rooting for him to just become huge. And then my second pick would be who
Are we going with 2 then?
Well, I thought so. You have Channing
All right.
Tatum, and then your
All
second
right,
pick.
I'll take Butler as my second.
Okay,
All right,
my
well, I'm taking Levitt then for my second one.
okay, well, my number 2 is Michael Fassbender.
I like that. I like both of your picks better than mine.
Ha!
I don't think Fassbender has a chance in hell, but I would at least like
Me
to
either.
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
So-
know. He's more of a, I don't know.
Guy who plays Lex Luthor.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so then
Just-
who do
this
you
one's
have,
just
Paul?
this one's just for fun.
Shia LaBeouf? Is he going to be?
I know exactly who I'm picking for
Wait.
Lex Luthor.
Okay. Well, Paul, give us.
What? I gave you 2.
Oh,
Who'd you say?
I said Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Michael C. Hall.
For Luthor?
Oh, Lex Luthor. My bad. Copy paste.
Idiot.
Let me let me think about this for a minute.
my.
I'm picking Stanley Tucci.
Oh. Well played.
Mm.
I am picking Ben Foster. Is mine.
Why do I know that name? What was he in?
He's in 310 to Yuma.
I didn't see that.
Gosh, what?
What's his name?
It is Ben Foster.
I'm glad we've turned the podcast into just a Google session.
No, Ben Foster.
Dude, Ben Foster's like 20 years
Oh,
old.
yeah.
Picking him for late.
He's 30.
So out of your mind. He's actually 32, but he looks like he's like 20.
Yeah.
You're out of your mind.
He could be, but he's a creepy dude.
Google Stanley Tucci and tell me that's not Lex Luthor. Seriously.
Daniel Tucci.
He's the
Yeah,
guy
he's
who
bald.
plays
Oh, yeah,
he
that's a
plays
good one.
he plays the dad in
I don't think
Easy
he has
A.
the range though as an actor.
What do you mean? He's really good. He's a good actor. He's done tons of stuff. He's the host or whatever in frickin' Hunger Games, that thing there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He's done
yeah.
he was in that movie Margin Call, which is on Netflix. It's actually a really good movie if no one's ever seen that. That's my recommendation this week is go watch Margin Call.
All right.
I'm doing mine early.
Oh, mixing things up.
Yep.
All right, yeah,
All
I
right.
got Kevin Spacey for Lex Luthor.
God, I almost picked Kevin Spacey
Again.
because I was looking at the cast of Margin Call and he's in that also. Kevin Spacey's not a bad guess. I'd actually like to see that.
Gosh. Oh my gosh.
All right, you think about that for a while.
I want to talk about
You mull
something
that up.
really quick with this
Okay.
whole Comic-Con thing. Have you guys heard anything about the new Ninja Turtles movie that Michael Bay's working on?
Movie?
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't
Yeah.
know they were doing. Is it live action or
Yeah.
is it?
You know how he does the Transformers, right? He's taking on the Ninja Turtles.
I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
I mean, I know that he tried. Yeah.
First of all, going slightly backtracking here.
I have no words on. I love the Ninja Turtles. I suspect that movie will be terrible.
Yeah.
That's my take.
They
on
casted
That.
Megan Fox as April O'Neil.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Done. It's the greatest movie
Guaranteed
of that year.
terrible.
Greatest movie of that year.
Guaranteed terrible movie.
Yep.
Now.
But stepping back a little bit, you guys said Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor, correct? Like
Well,
that's who you want.
That's
well,
what I said.
You do realize
Paul-
that he was in
Paul
the
picked him.
2006 Superman Returns as
Yeah,
Lex Luthor.
that's why I said it.
Okay.
Oh, really?
I'm telling you, this sarcasm doesn't transfer
Wow.
through the mic sometimes.
I
I'm
did
like-
not know that.
I'm
You didn't know
getting
that,
this.
Miller?
No, I didn't see that. I don't watch Superman movies because they're all terrible.
Oh, I never watched it, but I knew that he was Lex Luthor.
Oh. Well, then yeah, yours is. That was a good cast on their part, but yours is out. Mine is the clear front runner with Stanley Tucci.
All right, fair enough. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, stepping back into this, it's one of those things that Paul, we were kind of texting this week and talking about life and the pursuit of it, and just realizing that.
Well, why are you pursuing life? You're alive.
Well,
The pursuit of
pursuing life
happiness.
as in life being something worthwhile rather than what it is.
What, this isn't worthwhile to you? Are we
no.
wasting your time?
No. Oh gosh. It's
Tell
just
me,
the
tell
worst
me
ever.
about the turtles.
But when you were a child, were easily influenced by these things. And for a while in 2008, I had a big kick on going back to my childhood and watching these old shows that I just loved. One, I realized that in Dragon Ball Z, they charge for way too long. No one's going to do that.
We
two,
knew that when we were in 8th
Yeah.
grade, but we still loved
But-
it anyway.
Number two was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They all had sweet knives and battle weapons, and all they do is kick and punch people and knock them out. And this
It was
was
just like in the X-Men cartoon when Wolverine had his claws out. He never used them unless he was fighting a robot or cutting
Yeah.
through a wall. That was the only time he could use them.
exactly. So
Yeah. Very disappointing.
you can't go too far with it. I mean, unless these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are really going to just start chopping people's arms off and
It's just going to be a bunch of walking around CGI turtles with a bunch of cars blowing up because Michael Bay is doing it.
Well, there's been rumors floating around that he's actually altering the backstory.
Great.
And that it's aliens.
I'm sure it'll be...
Aliens invade Earth and inadvertently spawn a quartet of mutant reptilian warriors.
Leave it to Michael Bay to ruin just the simplest concept in the fucking world that everybody would love. A couple of turtles are in the sewer.
just
some
minding
mut-
their own business.
Yeah, some mutagen falls on them and it turns them into like humans, and then they get trained by a ninja rat. I mean, I know it sounds stupid, but it's the story we all grew up with. Leave it to Michael Bay to just take something that everybody loves and just be like, yeah, fuck that. I know everyone liked that one, but let me just do this piece of shit instead.
Guys.
Fuck
guys.
Michael Bay.
And then let's cast Megan Fox as April.
Oh yeah, I love how is that the only confirmed casting too?
No, there's a whole bunch. They're already
Guaranteed-
shooting it right now.
Yeah.
Guaranteed Megan Fox got cast only because he wants to get her into a tight yellow spandex jumpsuit.
Will
That's the only
Arnett
reason.
is in this as Vernon Fenwick. I don't even know who that is.
I'm not sure who that is either. I'm not up on my Turtles knowledge.
Teenage Mutant
Other
Ninja
than I
Turtles.
know Krang, who was the best character of all time. Stomach Brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar.
Stomach brain.
Not everyone knows who Krang is, bro.
Hey, I'm just happy that it's William Fichtner who's being Shredder. Oh yeah, that's just gonna be incredible.
Who's that? It's not going to be incredible because the movie's going to suck.
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
No.
What was the last good thing Michael Bay did? I mean, I'm not even just being sarcastic. Like, what was the last movie that he made that someone, like, loved? Armageddon? Did he do Armageddon?
I think, yeah, that was him.
That was probably it, right? 1998, Armageddon came out.
I mean,
Anything
I know
in between
that
there.
like the last things were obviously the Transformers.
He's done like
Yeah.
so many things in between Armageddon, and they're just all are terrible.
Well, first of all,
All
I
of
liked the
them.
first Transformers. I thought
Yeah,
that one was a good representation of what I loved about that show, but yeah.
Yeah, it just got out of hand after that. Like,
Pain and Gain, that was his next thing after the Transformers, and
I don't even remember that.
Pain and Gain, Mark Wahlberg, The Rock.
yeah, I never seen
Yeah.
it. All right.
Yeah. Crap.
I think we're good. For this.
Yeah, we've been like the last
week's
20 minutes of this
episode.
is just like a bunch of us Googling and like randomly talking about stupid shit. Hope you enjoyed that. See what you've all been missing with just listening to the first half of the podcast? You've been missing out on this.
Indeed. This was our most professional podcast by far, and I really hope that all of you listeners out there really felt like you were Googling along with us.
All right, Nelson, wrap
Hope we
us up.
Twittered your Google.
So that wraps it up for this week's podcast. Thank you all for listening. As always, you can follow Cameron, Paul, and myself on Twitter at CameronMiller00, White Pressure, and Please Piper. Or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/WCST podcast. Next week, we'll be talking about Two Guns and Sharknado, gearing up for Shark Week. We'll be giving you the latest and greatest next-gen games like The Order, Destiny, The Division, and talking a little more about Project Spark. We'll also be giving you our review of iOS 7 from our beta testing to see if clean lines in 2D really makes this the best mobile operating system. We have a hint for you, a little spoiler, it doesn't. So just keep up on the blog to see more of what's coming next week. Go to the site wcstpodcast.com and ask us what you want our blog posts to be about. Once again, be our director. So that wraps it up for us. We'll see you guys next week. Adios.
Bye-bye.
Oh.